Good evening. This is our final. Good evening. My name is Grace Lopez Ramirez. I'm with the Office of the Clerk and Recorder for the City and County of Denver. And we are having our last and town hall for this series that we've been hosting in partnership with a number of agencies these last few months, including Brothers Redevelopment, the Colorado Legal Aid organization that Jose is with, West Denver Cornerstone Collaborative, the Office of Financial Empowerment and Consumer Protection with the City and County of Denver, and a few others that are not able to join us tonight. We are moving forward with a little bit of a different format this evening, in that given that we are in the last of our series of town halls, we thought that we would potentially do something a little different this evening, in a little bit of role playing instead of our standard panelist and PowerPoint and more formal conversation. We thought a little role playing to see how these kind of conversations that we have with our residents play out, and maybe have a different way of educating you, our public, our residents, around the resources we have available to you, the residents of the City and County of Denver, if you are facing potential foreclosure as a homeowner of your property. So as I mentioned earlier, this is the last of our series of town halls. If you're interested in seeing a recording of the previous town halls that are offered in English, Spanish, as well as Vietnamese, please go to the webpage for the Clerk and Recorder's Office, and that's www.denverclerkandrecorder.org. We're going to happy to put that in the chat. That's a really great resource for you to find a lot of information about our previous town halls, some one-pagers that offer resources, including contact information for all of the organizations that we've partnered with on this town hall series, as well as just a few other things that might be very helpful to you as you navigate this journey as a homeowner around foreclosures. I should also inform you all that we are recording this meeting, this town hall, and that will also be added to our YouTube channel and the other town halls that we've hosted this last 8 or so months. So with that in mind, then I'm going to introduce some of our speakers, or role play actors, as it will. First, we have Megan Miles. She is with the West Denver Renaissance Collaborative. Megan, in this first role play we'll be doing, is going to be playing a homeowner. And then we also have John Davies from the Clerk and Recorder's Office. He will be playing himself. And then lastly, in our third role play, which we'll discuss in a little bit, we have Ivan Sanchez, who's joining us from Brothers Redevelopment. And he also will be playing himself as a HUD certified counselor. All right, take it away, Megan.
Hi, so I got this document in the mail and I don't really know what it is. I just saw that I should call your office. Can you help?
Absolutely. Is that document, we just want to make sure that what you received is actually from our office. We often get customers calling in having received documents from other sources, and that's pretty common. So can you look at that document and confirm that at the top it says combined notice of sale and rights to cure and redeem, and that it has our seal on that document?
Yes, it does. It says that, and it's got the Clerk and Recorder seal on it.
All right, well, perfect. Let me look up your case file, which is that's also on that document. It's a 4-digit year and then a 6-digit number. Could I have your address?
Sure. I live at 555 North Court Place.
All right. Okay, it looks like your sale it does look like you're in foreclosure, unfortunately, but it looks like your sale is quite a ways out at this point. It looks like you still got about 3 to 4 months before the scheduled sale takes place. And so let me share some information with you about what you can do in that time to maybe potentially get yourself out of foreclosure. In our office, the homeowner always has a right to cure right up until the sale happens. In order to take advantage of that right, you would need to file a document called an intent to cure. That document can be found on our website, and I can certainly send you a link to it so you can have a look at it and fill it out. If you do want to fill it out at home and bring it into us, you will have to get it notarized. But if you want to come into our office, we're open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, and fill it out in front of us and sign it in front of us, then it doesn't need to be notarized. We'll accept it from you in person.
Can you tell me, what does it mean to cure something?
Sure. So to cure just essentially means you have to pay your back owed funds. So what the process is once you file that document with us, we request from the lender immediately that they tell us how much is owed to bring your loan back to current. And then once they've provided that to us, within about 10 minutes of us getting it, we'll send that on to you along with instructions for how to make a payment to our office in that amount. And it's unfortunate we don't have a way to issue any kind of payment plans or anything here in the clerk and recorder's office. But if you are able to make that payment, it'll immediately stop the foreclosure. Even if your lender says, wait, we gave them the wrong dollar amount, it won't matter. Our office will still stop the foreclosure if you pay what they have told you to pay. So along with that, I also want to bring to your attention that this is not necessarily the right answer for everyone, but you may want to consider filing bankruptcy. That will just pause the foreclosure process. It won't stop it, but it may give you some extra time. The other thing you should know is that there's a court hearing as part of the foreclosure process that doesn't happen within my office. It happens in the courts. It's called a Rule 120 hearing. The outcome of that hearing is a document called an order authorizing sale. And our office needs that order authorizing sale in order to take something to our auction. So you should get a notice from the courts about the Rule 120 hearing. If you'd like to plead a case at the Rule 120 hearing, you will need to respond to that notice. But other than that, I don't have a lot of information about Rule 120 hearings, so I would recommend you talk to an attorney if that's something you would like to do.
Okay. Well, you talked about bankruptcy, and that sounds pretty serious. I mean, I've just missed a few payments on my mortgage. Can you just, tell me how to get out of this? I don't want to be in foreclosure.
Unfortunately, we, the public trustee's office, can't give you any legal advice about how to proceed. We can tell you what options are available through our office, which is primarily the intent to cure option that we discussed, and the bankruptcy is potentially an option. But as I said, you probably want to talk to an attorney to figure out what all of the ramifications of that would be. That said, there are definitely other parties in the city, other agencies, and even outside of the city who offer programs to help people in these predicaments. And we can definitely refer you to those parties. We call them housing counselors, and we also have a agency here in the city called the Office of Financial Empowerment that may be able to help. But we, the public trustee's office, are required to stay neutral to the process, so we're not able to do anything but refer you to those agencies.
Well, that sounds okay, but what does a housing counselor do?
A housing counselor is someone who can provide free information on programs and your options that you have available to you. So if you need to know more about them, though, I would definitely contact one.
And how can I find one?
We actually do have a list prepared of housing counselors, and I will send you an email to that link. For the purposes of this town hall, though, I'm going to display it on the screen. If I can remember how, here we go. So here's our list of housing counselors that we have available to the public. For your purposes, it sounds like a call to Brothers Redevelopment might be in order. That's BRI down there. So I advise giving them a call to get further information about housing counselors.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate
Sure,
your help.
sure, no problem.
Thank you so much, John Davies from the Office of Clerk and Recorder. Perfect timing then to go into our next role play with Mr. Ivan Sanchez from Brothers Redevelopment and Megan Miles from West Denver Renaissance Collaborative. Take it away, Ivan.
Hi, you've reached Ivan with Brothers Redevelopment. How may I help you?
Hi, well, I was told by the clerk and recorder's office that I should call you guys, that I just started the foreclosure process, but I just wanted to ask first what, he told me a little bit about what you guys do, but can you tell me more just about what a HUD certified housing counselor is and what it is that you guys do?
Absolutely. And I just want to say you're taking all the right steps by reaching out and being proactive with this. I know it's difficult circumstances and sometimes hard to begin. So I just want to say, you're doing all the right things. HUD certified housing counselor. Our role is to assist homeowners in presenting all the options that they have available that they can use for loss mitigation when they're going through foreclosure. Brothers Redevelopment is a nonprofit, so we also offer many other services, but specific to your case, we're just a resource to you who we are available based upon what your goals are. So whether you wish to stay in your home or if you are prepared maybe to walk away from it, we can present all the options and see which one we would like to pursue.
Well, I know I've missed a couple of mortgage payments and it's just been a hard year, but I really do want to stay in my home. I love my neighborhood and I love my community, and I'm worried, if I sell, then I'm just not going to be able to afford a home anymore. So yes, I would like to stay in my home if that's possible.
Excellent. Absolutely. You still do have options, even though you are in the foreclosure process. And I do want to let you know that by pursuing some of those options, such as perhaps a loss mitigation, although it will not completely halt the proceedings, your lender or servicer would not be able to move forward with your auction sale date until they've come to a decision about whether or not to approve you for a loan modification. And I'd be more than happy to go further into detail about what that would be.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, can you tell me a little bit more about that? The clerk and recorder told me how to cure, but I'm wondering what other options there are and how to talk to my lender.
Absolutely. Sometimes a lump sum payment isn't the best option for everyone, especially when they've had difficulty making the payment. So you can pursue a loan modification. It's a application that you will complete with your lender or servicer. There is no impact to your credit because it's not a credit application, but it's really important that we know all the details about what a loan modification will entail, specifically the extending of the terms, the resetting of the clock, if you will, because since we're not sure, whether this may be your, fourth year in the home or, 15th year, it's really important to remember that with a loan modification, you will be returning back to the first year. So it's important that we mention that and that you're aware of the aggregate interest payments that will be greater now that it'll be for a longer term. And essentially what it is it's an application where we will submit to your lender asking for them to modify your mortgage by extending the terms. That often helps lower the monthly payments, which can make it more affordable and help you get back on track to making payments and out of that foreclosure process.
I've heard a little bit about forbearance. Can you tell me more about what that is?
Absolutely, that is another option available to homeowners, and it's really important that we go over all the details of that one as well. Essentially, a forbearance is a suspension of payments It could be 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months, depending on which forbearance option you agree to. But the important thing to remember with the forbearance is the amount is never forgiven. It does get, you'll have to find a resolution with your lender if you're going to add it on to the end of the mortgage, or if you're going to, re-enter into a loan modification after your forbearance. There's certain income verifications that they're going to want to go through. So we're going to have to make sure that, we have a plan for you to get back on your mortgage if you take a forbearance, just because it wouldn't be ideal to take it and then not have a plan for getting back into the mortgage, just because that can start to eat into your equity of the home if you do decide to sell later on. Those 12 months, 6 months, or 18 months that you may have missed will be taking out of your equity value that you have in the home that you've built up while living there.
And what about, I heard there was a moratorium, like that they weren't doing foreclosures because of COVID. I thought, does that not apply to me?
So the moratorium that was in place is unfortunately no longer in place, and many of those legal protections, when it was extended, were exclusively to renters and eviction protections. So unfortunately, you are no longer covered by that moratorium. So you are subject to a foreclosure. And I just want to mention that this is why you reaching out is so important, to schedule an appointment for us to have a more thorough one-on-one review of your case by completing an intake, assessing your financial situation. You mentioned that your goal was home retention, and then pursuing those loss mitigation options.
Okay. And what about mortgage assistance or other financial resources? I know that renters have been getting some. Is there anything available for homeowners?
There is a program that will be available to homeowners. Unfortunately, the program that is active right now is the ERAP program, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. And homeowners would only qualify if they were landlords applying on behalf of their tenants. So unfortunately, the program is not live yet, but it is coming, and it's called the Emergency Mortgage Assistance Program. So I do want to make sure that you know that that program that has funds for homeowners will be available. Just we are still waiting for it to be live. What I can do, if you'd like, is if you'd like to share your information with me, is add you to a wait list here, so that when the program is live, we can reach out to you and have you apply as soon as possible.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
It's Megan.
And so, yeah, so just this has been really helpful information. Thank you. And it sounds like the next steps for me, I need to just make an appointment to come in, and what kind of documents should I bring?
Absolutely. The next steps would be for us to have that one-on-one meeting. You're going to want to bring, as much as you can, the more the better. And what I mean by that is your mortgage statements, your bank statements. If we are going to pursue that loan modification, and you have an income source, you're going to want to bring something to verify that, whether it be that bank statement showing the income, or pay stubs, or if you're self-employed, we're going to want to look at profit and loss statements. It's definitely going to be a very detailed review. So any financial documents that pertain to your home, as well as that correspondence that you may have received from your lender, you're going to want to bring, just if that way, if you do have an auction date and a notice of election demand with a cure amount, we can review all that, and we can have a very clear timeline of where you are in this process, and kind of hit the ground running as soon as we can, so to speak.
Okay, thank you. And I know a couple of people in my neighborhood who are going through something similar. And so do you know if you're not behind on your mortgage payments, but you've missed a couple of your homeowners association payments, they heard that they were going to go into foreclosure, and that just seems crazy. Do you know if that's true?
Yes, unfortunately, a homeowners association can initiate foreclosure proceedings on a homeowner, even if they are current on their mortgage, due to Colorado being a super lien state. So that's why, making those homeowners association payments are so vital, because you don't want to fall behind on those, because although you may be current with your mortgage, they can still pursue that foreclosure process and then put you at risk. So certainly yes, and that's why if you are in a homeowners association, we'll want to look at the covenants that they may have in that community, and specifically yours, and making sure that we can get your dues caught up before they begin that process with you, if you are current with your mortgage.
Okay, thanks. I'll share that. And then what about for someone who may not have a social security number, who may have just bought their house with an ITIN or other documents? Can you guys help them as well?
Absolutely. We have no residency requirements. We are not, collecting any of that. Our services are available to anyone as long as they're living in the state of Colorado. And then as far as program requirements, if we were going to want to, refer a client that maybe doesn't have a social to a certain financial resource program, we would always advise you of what those program requirements are before we would send you off. That way, you're not being put in a position to apply for something you're uncomfortable with.
Okay. Well, thank you, Yvonne. This is really helpful. I didn't know any of these resources existed, so I'll follow up to make an appointment. I appreciate you talking me through this.
Absolutely. You're doing all the right steps, and being proactive and taking action is the best first step. So I just want to thank you for reaching out and let you know that we are a resource here for you and will always be available at no cost.
Thank you.
Awesome. I really learned a lot. I don't know about you guys, but I think there was a lot of really great information in both of those role plays. As you can see, one question can easily lead to another. So please do not ever hesitate to reach out to one of the HUD certified counseling agencies. We put some information in the chat, I believe, and also on the Facebook Live in the comments around how you can reach Yvonne and his colleagues at Brothers Redevelopment, how you can get a hold of our office at our website. And I know that there's a lot of questions that might be going through your brain as you're watching these role plays. So please, please, please don't hesitate to put those into the chat, whether it's on Facebook or on Zoom, so we can make sure to answer your questions here. I know I have one question coming from the group, and that is that the panelists mentioned that bankruptcy is one situation when a homeowner should get legal advice. Are there other reasons I would want to work with a lawyer? And for that, I think I'll call on Jose Vasquez, who is with Colorado Legal Services. Jose, please excuse me for butchering your organization's name earlier. I want to make sure to correct that, since Jose and the team over at Colorado Legal Services have been such a wonderful partner through this homeowners town hall series. So Jose, what do you think? What other reasons would you need to work with a lawyer in this situation?
Well, thank you. So if the house goes into foreclosure, that's a very serious thing. And one reason that people might need a lawyer is, first of all, to advise them on what kind of rights they might have or might be able to assert if there's a foreclosure. In most cases, you might have a situation where a person falls behind on their mortgage payments and they're not contesting that those mortgage payments are in arrears, but there might be other circumstances that have arisen, which might provide the borrower with some legal remedies that they might be able to assert. So as part of every public trustee foreclosure, there is as John Davies had mentioned, it's called a Rule 120 proceeding. And so what happens is that this is the borrower's, the homeowner's opportunity to file a response to the motion for order authorizing a sale. And that provides an opportunity for a response. And that's a legal document. That's a document that's filed with the district court. And so it's important to have advice on how to respond to the foreclosure. I've had cases where, there may be defenses to the foreclosure because there could be like a statute of limitations issue. In certain cases, it may require not just responding in Rule 120 proceeding, but filing a complaint and trying to get an injunction to stop the foreclosure from taking place. So it's really important. I guess what I would say is if people have concerns about their mortgage, they feel that the foreclosure is there's something that isn't quite right, that they should consult an attorney to see what options are available. And then, certainly, as was discussed, bankruptcy, you would need a Chapter 13 to stop the public trustee foreclosure or any kind of foreclosure. And then Chapter 13 allows an individual to formulate a plan of repayment. So Chapter 13 is extremely complicated, and you definitely will need legal counsel for that reason.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Jose. So please don't hesitate if you know that you're already in that situation, you really want to consult with a lawyer. Perhaps you've already consulted with a HUD certified housing counselor, and they've directed you to a lawyer. Feel free to reach out to Colorado Legal Services. Jose and his team and his colleagues there are there to help. And we have the website up on the Facebook Live there as well. Looks like I have another question coming in. During the role play, you stated that the clerk and recorder's office offers services in different languages. Is that also true for housing counseling? And can a homeowner get services virtually or all services in person? So that's kind of a multi-pronged question. And we definitely do in the Office of Clerk and Recorder. If you call into our, public trustee office and you feel more comfortable in Spanish, or if you speak Arabic or Amharic, whatever language you speak, we can definitely connect you to a interpreter who will be on with us, interpreting simultaneously in your preferred language. But I think I'm going to kick it over to Ivan Sanchez to help us answer the question for housing counselors if they also have that bilingual capability.
Certainly, yes, our services are available in English and Spanish, as well as with the agency NewsEd. That flyer that the clerk and recorder shared is very handy, and there it will also list which agencies offer the bilingual services, and Brothers Redevelopment and NewsEd are certainly valid options in English and Spanish. Sorry.
Awesome. And perhaps if people are looking for another language, we can help. NewsEd and Brothers could potentially help find someone who would offer those other languages if you do not.
We would certainly do our best to connect them with their preferred language, but just like as far as immediate availability, just as I speak Spanish and I am a housing counselor, I'd be more than happy to assist right away.
Awesome. Thank you, Ivan. It looks like people, some people are still working remotely. Some people are in person. Are most housing counselor appointments happening in person then or virtually?
Certainly, we are doing a hybrid model. We're trying to accommodate whatever schedule works best for the client. So if internet connectivity might not be available to them and in person is the only option, we'll make it work. But certainly virtual meetings are possible. Just the significance of that one-on-one appointment and sharing those documents is going to mean that we're going to need to, they're going to have to be comfortable sharing that via email and just be certain that it's within their comfort to proceed.
Awesome. I know that this came up in the role play at one point around documentation. If you're an undocumented resident living and homeowner that's looking for services, looking for resources, we have a question here from the audience that is asking around whether or not their documentation status is going to be an issue if they want to reach out to the public trustee or housing counselor. Can you answer that for us as well, Yvonne?
At Brothers Redevelopment, that is not a requirement. So certainly anyone's status is welcome to receive our services at no cost. As I had mentioned to Megan, if we do find a resource available to them and it may have documentation requirements, we will of course advise the client and try and find them the resources that best fit them.
Great. John, do you want to weigh in here as well on behalf of the public trustee in the Office of the Clerk Recorder?
Sure. So for the public trustee's office, documentation, and actually for the entire recording and public trustee team, documentation isn't an issue with us as well. Our role is to administer the foreclosure process. So if you've taken out a loan and are now in foreclosure, we'll do the same exact process for anyone regardless of documentation status.
Awesome. Thank you for clarifying that. So as you can see, my fellow residents, please do not wait to reach out to our HUD certified counseling agencies here, including Brothers Redevelopment, NewSed. I know we have someone from Denver Housing Authority who's on board with us. They're also HUD certified counselors, because really it's better to ask, and ask soon, ask early, make sure you have the right information, you understand the resources available to you, and really what does that process look like, and you get the help that you need and the help that's here for you, the help that's available, as long as you reach out to us and start getting information and informed on how you can help your situation and how you can save your home. Let me just check really quick here and see if there's any other questions that might have come up. It looks like from my end, a lot of them have been answered at this point. I don't know if anyone has anything else they'd like to share that we might not have already covered, that we want to make sure that our residents and our folks here in the Denver Metro know their resources and have information. Looks like Charlotte might want to weigh in.
Yeah.
Charlotte,
I'm sorry about the shadowing in my picture. And I just wanted to let everyone know it is important when you meet with the counselors, because any programs come and go, rules change, as Ivan mentioned. So we will have all the updated information, and EHAP is forthcoming. Currently, there's also MAP, which is Mortgage Assistance Program, that is available. All these programs can change. So you want to get the up-to-date information when you meet with a housing counselor. So I just wanted to mention that to everyone. Thank you.
great. Thank you so much, Charlotte. Jose, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would, I would caution people to not, or just to be very careful about who they decide to put their trust in. There are a lot of companies that profess to provide assistance with foreclosure, with modifications. In some cases, there have been some companies who basically say, we'll find a way to challenge it legally, and then they don't, or maybe they're not even attorneys. So I just would caution people to be aware of these companies because they're oftentimes, they make a lot of promises they don't keep, and in some cases I've seen clients that have paid $3,000 or $4,000 up front to have the company help them with loan modification, and nothing is done. So just issue that warning for everybody.
Great, thank you, Jose. That's a really good thing to make note of. I know that even after the foreclosure process, sometimes people are getting, things in the mail. I'll confess to you guys that during the recession back in 2008, 2009, my parents had some properties that they had in Florida go under foreclosure. And it was a really, really difficult process. Florida's foreclosure process looks a little different than Colorado. It took a lot of time for them to navigate. And even just last week, I mean, this happened, you know, a long time ago, over a decade ago. And even just last week, my mom got something in the mail saying that, you know, supposedly she still had some excess funds sitting in from that foreclosure sale. And I was like, Mom, you know, and they were trying to get her to sign over all these things with this very legal looking document with, you know, even stickies as to where she should sign because they're going to go fight for her $17,000. It's still sitting in Indian River County in Florida, literally. And I literally called Indian River County, Florida last week for my mom on a property that I knew we did not have excess funds from that foreclosure sale. That I knew that those cases had been wrapped up, and yet still she is getting very legal looking information from companies, you know, years later about supposed, you know, this supposed money involved with this foreclosure sale from years ago. So please, that's a really important thing to note. Make sure you're really doing the research on any mail, any information you get regarding your property, and you're getting really trusted information, using those trusted resources that we have on our website, information, you know, trusted resources with our partners here in our homeowner series, with Brothers Redevelopment, with Colorado Legal Services, Denver Housing Authority, with, of course, NewsEd, and our other partners here in the city, including the Office of Financial Empowerment and Consumer Protection. You know, and OFEP, that's their acronym. OFEP is really here to fight for you as well, right? If you're getting some crazy mail that they're trying to, you know, tell you all these things about your property, make sure that you're really reaching out to us. OFEP can connect you with a financial advisor one-on-one to make sure that you have someone working with you and really connecting you to those resources as well. Anyone else it looks like Yvonne has something to share.
Yes, and thank you so much, Grace. And just to expand on, you know, what Jose said, any company that's, you know, making guarantees or, you know, requesting upfront fees, that's certainly a red flag. And we want to make sure that, you know, people are doing the research and you know, finding the free resources that are available and programs that can help them. There are programs like the Stay in Place program, which is aimed at homeowners facing reduced incomes because of the pandemic or the increase in the property taxes and other escrow costs. They can sell the land from underneath their home into a land trust that's operated by the Elevation Community Land Trust, and Megan with the Western Denver Renaissance Collective. She would have certainly a lot of, she'd be a great resource for that, but just so that homeowners know that they have different options and that any guarantees are big red flags.
Awesome. Thank you, Yvonne. Let me just take another look at our chat to see if we're missing anything. Thank you so much, Yvonne, for highlighting the Stay in Place program. That's really an amazing program that, you know, was stood up very quickly, I think, during the pandemic to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our residents that are facing, you know, reduced incomes during the pandemic. Anything else that we need to cover that folks feel like we might not have covered yet? Otherwise, I think maybe if we want to do just some brief final statements and we can close out our night. I'm going to kick it over to John Davies with the Office of Clerk and Recorder. Close us out.
Thanks, Grace. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned, you know, we've had a lot of these town halls and we've talked about this at each one, but I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that this group is a well-oiled group. If you are facing any kind of housing distress situation and you don't know who to call, just call any one of us and we'll make sure you get to the right party. We're all working well together, and it's a no wrong door policy. So just give us a call. Any one of us, doesn't matter what your situation is, and we'll make sure we get you to a party that can help you.
Great. Thank you so much, Davies. How about you, Yvonne?
I think I just would want to emphasize kind of how important our role play Megan's actions were, in that she reached out, she was proactive, and she sought out what her options were, just given that when someone is going through these circumstances, they are very difficult. It is very personal. It is someone's home. And, our goal is to pursue the homeowner's first option. We don't want to corner them into choices. And so the best step is always just to take action, reach out. The sooner, the better. We don't want to be too late and have our options dwindle down to one choice. So please, to echo John, take action, any one of us here, and we will connect you with the best resources we can.
Thank you so much. Jose or Charlotte? Would you all, anything you'd like to close us out with?
Yeah, I just want to back up with both John and Ivan are saying, and I'm just so proud of this group. I've been around, and Jose has been around many, many years, and I am so impressed with the collaborative efforts here with all of our organizations. And nationally, Colorado is one of the most innovative states when it comes to supports and supportive services and collaborative efforts amongst our agencies. So for you here as a resident in Denver, you are in many hands, and many hands that are here to help you. And we're free. All of us are free. So, trust in us. And I'm just glad that we're all working together to help each of the homeowners. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte.
And
Last word.
Yeah, sure. This is it's a very serious situation to be in foreclosure. Oftentimes we see the mortgage servicers, there's things that they don't do correctly. There could be issues with the mortgage. And if you suspect that that's the case, you can certainly apply with Colorado Legal Services or seek out an attorney, a private attorney that might be able to provide some assistance. The other thing recently is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has put in new rules that, this is the post forbearance remedies, but they're really pushing the servicers to reach out first to homeowners before they start that foreclosure process. So, don't ignore any calls, any letters, talk to your lender. That's super important. So anyway, thank you. And I'm privileged to be a part of this and work with these really fine folks.
Thank you all so much for all this valuable, super, super important information for our residents, and for continuing to be there in this conversation, in this community conversation and dialogue, to make sure our residents have the information that they need. And on that note, I'll remind all of our audience that we do have all of our virtual town halls recorded and available on the Clerk and Recorder website. Again, that's denverclerkandrecorder.org. If you click on the foreclosure information button, that'll take you right there. You'll find our bilingual resources page. You'll find a link to our YouTube channel that has, again, all of these town halls recorded, including ones that have different emphasis on bankruptcy or the HOA foreclosure process. So please, 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 it's a wealth of information at denverclerkandrecorder.org. Also, make sure that you're checking back to the various websites, not just ours, but also the Office of Financial Empowerment with the City and County of Denver, with Colorado Legal Services, with Brothers Redevelopment, with all of our partners here for information as things might evolve through the rest of this year, but also really mainly for more information on possible pop-up housing counseling events, or potentially another one of these. We'll see. Never say never, because I know that we're all dedicated to serving our residents. And so please keep in contact with us. We look forward to hearing from you. And remember, it's never too early to reach out for help. If you're starting to have questions, if you're unable to meet your mortgage payments and you may be going down the road of foreclosure. So thank you again to everyone and have a wonderful evening.